What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 5, Go-Getters. So, we get to see more of Trevor from GTA 5 in this episode. I love it. If you've never played GTA 5 before, and you're below the age of 18, don't. If you're above the age of 18, and you love video games, and you love just experiencing a video game, GTA 5 is definitely the game for you because there's a lot of good stuff about it. But one of the best things about it is the characters are a lot of fun. There's a lot of swearing and stuff like that. And if that's not your type of game, go play something else. But seeing Trevor in this show, it's pretty much, the same voice actor, obviously, but it's almost like he brought the exact same character over from GTA 5. It feels like he is being Trevor on the show. He's kind of, at times he just presents himself as likable and like he's, oh yeah, I'm completely fine. But it seems like he could snap at any minute. I love that feeling in a character. I love watching somebody who looks like for a second, oh yeah, I've got it together, and then somebody says something, just strikes a nerve. It's just like, what did you just say? And all of a sudden, you're freaking terrified of them because who knows what they're going to do next. But yeah, really good episode, I think. More build up for what I feel like is... It's kind of been a slow build over the past few episodes. They started off the season with a bang, starting off with everything that Negan did, killing off Glenn and Abraham, all of that stuff. It was a really fast start to the season. You break down Rick in that episode, Daryl gets taken in, Carl almost has his arm chopped off. It felt like so much happened in that first episode. Yeah, you needed a little bit of slow down time. You needed it to be not as fast. You needed it to be not as cluttered. I understand that. However, we are getting a little bit too much into the slow down time. Last episode, it was very intense, but nothing really happened. We just saw pretty much what's going to happen later on. We knew this was coming. We knew that Negan was going to retaliate. We knew that Negan was going to put his foot down and say, okay, we're in charge, we're going to show you. So we saw that at Alexandria, now we've seen it again at Hilltop. I want to see more as far as that goes. I want to see more as far as the Negan storyline and where all of that is going. Because, ultimately the important part of this episode was seeing Maggie start to become a leader, which, because people who read the comics don't know how to shut the hell up, I know that what's going to happen with Maggie and Hilltop and all that stuff. Because, whatever. This is part of the problem, I think, with this show. I love this show. I love what they're doing. However, I wish they would change it up a bit more from the comics. Because they did change some stuff up. There are certain moments that, okay, this is a change. Okay, this is a change. But ultimately, overall, they're still fairly sticking to the comics. Glenn still died by Negan's bat. Abraham still died. If you didn't know, he actually got Denise's death in the comics, the arrow through the back of the head. So, they have changed certain things, but overall, the overall story, Maggie looks like she's still going to become the leader of Hilltop, just like in the comics. So, I wish they would change certain things up so that the people who read the comics would stop spoiling it for people like me who haven't read the comics at all. They just keep talking about, oh yeah, so this and this happens, and this happens, and I'm just like, okay, well, if the show was following the comics less, I'd be like, well, maybe they're not going to do that. But because they're following the comics so specifically at certain points, and there are big moments that they always have from there, it's kind of frustrating. It's kind of like, see, now you're ruining certain things for me, and I hate you for that. Anyway, this episode, I feel like the Simon stuff, while fun and enjoyable to see Simon more, it still feels like the build-up to, okay, Negan is putting his foot down in these places. Negan is really stamping his mark and saying, we're in charge, remember that. That stuff is pretty much the same, and it's enjoyable to see Simon, but not as enjoyable to have to sit through this storyline continually. So that would be my one gripe in this episode. The rest of it is pretty good. Some of it is frustrating from a story point of view, as in, like, they want you to be frustrated by it. So we have Carl and Enid. for some reason, Carl's like, I'm not going to save you anymore. And then completely goes back on his word and decides to save her. I'm just like, Carl, you're an idiot. I don't, I get it. I understand why he did. I understand that he has feelings for her and he doesn't want her to die. But at the same time, there are moments, especially in a Walker apocalypse, zombie apocalypse, where you should just say, enough is enough. Here's your last chance. You didn't take your last chance. Enough is enough. Carl doesn't know where that line is. And so, yeah. And I understand why he's doing it. It's not just because of Enid. Didn't mean to hit the table. It's not just because of Enid. It's not just because he wants to keep her safe. He's also seeing this as an opportunity to find Negan and kill him for what he did. Which, of course, you're stupid if you think you can just walk up to Negan and kill him. I mean, come on. Your dad couldn't do it. Your dad, who's the biggest badass in this world right now, couldn't stand up to Negan right now. So what makes you think you're going to do anything? But either way, he does it. Enid wants to make it to Hilltop to check on Maggie because, and I totally forgot about this, but she and Glenn had kind of formed a little bit of a father-daughter relationship in a way. Glenn was, at the time, it felt like they were building up that Glenn was learning how to be a father before they ultimately killed him off. But anyway, so they had formed a connection there, and so she feels a bit of a connection to Maggie, seeing that she saw Glenn as kind of a father figure. Naturally, his wife would be kind of a mother figure to her, so she's there to check up on her. Sasha's there to make sure she's okay. And the overall story for this episode generally centers around the fact that Gregory is kind of a pussy. And it's kind of funny to see at times. Like, there are so many moments in this episode, at first, where I'm just like, Gregory is an idiot. How is he still in charge? And then by the end, I was just sort of laughing because he pretty much got exactly what was coming to him. There are moments where it feels like, when is this character going to get what he deserves? Like when we saw him last season, he seemed like kind of a wuss. He seemed like he was a bit, he was a coward. And Maggie called him a coward this episode. I completely agree. That's what he is. He's a coward. And it really didn't make any sense that he was so in charge and so controlling of this place, and nobody really stood up to him and said, no, we disagree. So it's nice to see finally, we see Jesus in this one, which, Jesus is awesome. I mean, what can I say? If there were a human depiction of Jesus in the apocalypse, this guy should be it, because he went kung fu on the walkers. He freaking kicked them in the head. That's awesome. Kung Fu Jesus, come on. This guy's awesome. But anyway, he's really standing up to Gregory in this one because I think he's fed up with Gregory. And after everything that happened, hanging out with Rick's group, he started to see what it takes to survive in this world. And he's seeing more and more Gregory doesn't have what it takes. And so he stood up to him several times. He hid Maggie and Sasha in a different closet so that when Gregory ultimately would try to sell him out, he would pick the wrong closet. We see there's a moment where Gregory is saying, look, they're going to leave, and he's like, no, they're not. So I like the fact that people were finally standing up to him. I just hate the fact that it took so long. Like, why? But ultimately, I think part of that has to do with the fact that they didn't really see anybody besides Gregory in charge. So now that they've seen Rick, they've seen these other people who know how to survive in this world, I think they're starting to realize, okay, maybe Gregory's not going to cut it. But we have several good moments in this with Maggie and Sasha in general. You've got them standing up to Gregory at the beginning after being at the graves of Abraham and Glenn. You had them standing up initially, but that was kind of it. They just sort of stood up to him once and then stopped and didn't really go anywhere with it. But then, as the episode continues, the Saviors leave a car with blaring music inside with the gates wide open, so a ton of walkers crash the party, trying to, dance to the music. And, the people there are just like, no, you're not allowed. Like, what is this discrimination? Walkers can't have fun too? Like, what if they just wanted to party? What if they just wanted to listen to music? Sorry, a little bit of humor. But we do have, like I said, a very kick-ass scene with Jesus kicking some heads off. I mean, that's pretty much what he was doing. Sasha was going in with a knife. Maggie was being told, no, you gotta stay back, you gotta stay back. And so she hops into a tractor and crushes some walkers as well as the car that's blaring the music. So Maggie gets her badass moment. And then the next day, the Saviors show up, being led by Simon. We have the moment where they're putting their foot down. But ultimately, the best scene comes after all that's done. You know, they leave. Gregory sitting there saying, "Oh, you two have to leave now. If they find out, blah 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 blah." And he's mad at Jesus for hiding him in a different closet. Maggie just slugs him. I was just like, brilliant. I could not think of a better scene. And honestly, that scene right there confirms for me, I want to see Maggie kill Negan. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Rick should do it. He should totally take Lucille and bash him over the head with this every time." Maggie needs to do it. It's gotta be Maggie. It has to be Maggie. I feel like the best way for it to happen is she like bashes his head in, something like that, and then takes over the Saviors. I don't know, but seeing her slug him in the face and then take Glenn's watch back, I'm just like, hell yeah. Do it again. Punch him, have him kneel for you too. I mean, I don't like Gregory's character at all. So the fact that they gave him so much shit at the end of this episode, I loved it. I love seeing him just all scared and just like, oh no, Simon's here, and what are they gonna do to me? Simon's like, kneel, and he's just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna kneel for you for a second. Just, you could see he has no spine whatsoever. So he's taking this and taking this. Maggie hits him in the face. No retaliation at all. I'm just like, yes! Hit him again. Sasha, you hit him this time. Jesus, you hit him now. Judith, come here. Come here. I'm going to show you how to punch a guy. I want everybody to punch him in the face once before he dies. But either way, it's good setup here as far as Maggie coming into power. You know, they're setting all that up very well. I just hate the fact that they're going so by the comics that we know what's coming. But, I mean, that's pretty much it as far as this story goes. We see Maggie really coming into her own, really gaining the strength from the fact that she wants to take revenge. You know, she wants revenge on Negan. And you can see that she's willing to do anything to take it. The final thing in this episode is, of course, Carl is going through his plan to find Negan's base. But before the trucks leave, Sasha tells Jesus, can you find out where Negan's base is? So he hops in the back of the truck, and Carl's there too. So it looks like it's going to be a Carl and Jesus team up. That'll be interesting to see because Jesus is a badass. Carl's kind of a badass, but with the eye patch, I mean, he couldn't even hit a dartboard. He may be still a little bit. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they're going to do, how they're going to get out of the truck without being seen inside of the place. You know, it's not like they're just going to leave the truck there, and unless they get really lucky and nobody is by the truck. Like, we just have this chance opportunity, like, oh yeah, Negan needs to talk to us right now, so they just leave the truck unguarded for a second. That's the only way I can think of them getting out of there alive and unspotted. But it'll be interesting to see where they're going with this, what they're going to do. I love where they're going with the whole Maggie storyline. I love how she's becoming a stronger character through all of this. And I hope that the Negan storyline picks up pace a little bit, because we've seen the same thing for the past few episodes. You know, Negan showing he is the man to listen to. You know, if you don't listen to him, you're in trouble. We've seen that for the past 4 episodes now. I want to see something a bit different. I want to see some people start standing up to him. I want to see Dwight's storyline go somewhere. You know, the fact that he's rebelling against Negan secretly, I want to see that change into he's rebelling against Negan a little bit more in the light. So we'll see where it's going, but for right now it's really good. I like where it's going. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Walking Dead reviews. I'll see you with the next one. Peace out.